This is a brief look at Diddy's history of controversies and allegations. Sean Diddy Combs has attempted to rebrand himself as Brother Love in recent years, but he has a prolonged history of violence dating back to the 90s. In November, Cassandra Casey Ventura filed a federal lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs in New York federal court. Her lawsuit includes graphic claims of sexual assault, physical abuse, and an allegation that Combs, her ex-boyfriend, would force her to have sex with male sex workers while he watched. Ventura's claims are among the worst, but not the first controversy that the music mogul and entrepreneur has been alleged to be involved in. Combs has attempted to rebrand himself as Brother Love in recent years, even changing his middle name to Love, but he has a prolonged history of violence dating back to the 90s. He's never been convicted of a serious crime, but has repeatedly been accused of having violent encounters with everyone from his exes Ventura and Jenna Hearn, who alleged physical abuse in 2019, to executive Steve Stout and rappers like Cole and Drake. Combs' attorney Ben Braffam told the New York Times that Mr. Combs vehemently denies these offensive and outrageous allegations. For the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Ms. Ventura's persistent demands of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Despite withdrawing her initial threat, Ms. Ventura has now resorted to filing a lawsuit riddled with baseless and outrageous lies, aiming to tarnish Mr. Combs' reputation and seeking a payday. The two reached an amicable settlement for an undisclosed amount on November 17th. Here is a timeline of Combs' controversies over the years. Combs co-promoted a celebrity basketball game and concert at City College of New York where 9 people died and 29 people were injured. The gym had a capacity of 2,730 people, but as many as 5,000 people showed up to the event, which didn't have enough security to control the throng. After organizers closed the doors and stopped letting attendees in, people outside broke the gymnasium's door and rushed the lobby, causing a stampede. The New York City Mayor David Dinkins' administration published a 67-page report called A Failure of Responsibility that cited Combs for hiring inadequate, inexperienced security. Combs settled a slew of lawsuits from family members of attendees who died at the gymnasium, finalizing the last suit in 2000. Combs and Death Row Records co-founder Marion Suge Knight were once friends, but the animosity that fueled the violence rivalry between Death Row and Bad Boy started once Knight's friends and security guard Jake Robles was killed outside an Atlanta nightclub after an argument with the Bad Boy camp. The men were celebrating musician Jermaine Dupri's birthday at Platinum City Club when, as then Fulton County Sheriff Deputy Chris Howard told the police, an argument began between members of the Bad Boy and Death Row Records entourage. Howard said that he escorted Combs and his guests outside to leave the club, and though the coast was clear to allow Knight and his entourage to leave, but as Howard told the Los Angeles Times, Knight's partner was just about ready to get into the limo when all of a sudden Puffy's guys came around the corner and one of them had a gun. Howard said he chased the man, who handed the gun to another person, who shot Robles 2 or 3 times. According to the Times, the person then jumped into the car carrying Combs' associates. Robles died weeks later at an Atlanta hospital. Combs has denied involvement in the shooting, which Knight reportedly held him responsible for. In 1998, Combs and two other men attacked Steve Stott after the music executive, then Nas manager, erroneously sent MTV a version of Combs and Nas' Hate Me Now music video, which contained scenes depicting Combs and Jesus Christ being crucified. Combs wanted the crucifixion scene deleted from the video and was enraged that it played on air. Stute says that Combs and two men barged into his New York City office and attacked him with a champagne bottle. He was charged with second-degree assault and criminal mischief. Stewart claims that his arm and jaw was broken in the attack, but Combs denied any bones were broken to MTV, also telling the network, "I basically went to his office, and what happened in his office, I really can't speak about, but I can say this. The way I handled myself in his office was completely wrong, and I've since apologized to Steve about that, and I felt like, I just disappointed myself." Combs was sentenced to a one-day anger management class. In late December 1999, Combs and his bad boy Sini Jamal Shen Barrow were partying at Club New York when Diddy knocked a drink out of Matthew Scar Allen's hand. Allen got into an argument with Combs and someone threw money in Combs' face. Allen also threatened to kill Shen. Prosecutors alleged that amid the fray, all three men drew guns and Shine shot 3 times in the crowded club. 3 men were shot. Combs, who was arrested with 2 9mm guns in his car, was charged with 4 weapon charges and for bribing his drivers to claim that the guns were his own. A witness at the trial says she saw both Shane and Combs shoot their weapons. Combs was acquitted on all charges, while Sean was found guilty of 5 of his 8 charges and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. In 2013, Combs was allegedly involved in an altercation with J. Cole at a 2013 MTV VMAs after party. Multiple sources allege to Complex that a visibly intoxicated Combs accosted Kendrick Lamar about his fairy verse of Big Sean's Control, where he bragged he was King of New York. Combs allegedly tried to pour a drink on Kendrick before Cole intervened and they got into a fight. The New York Post, however, reported that the scuffle occurred after J. Cole was saying inappropriate things to Sean Combs and his girlfriend, Casey. A witness told them that some pushing and shoving happened. No punches were thrown, but it was a visible disturbance. Both men immediately denied a fight took place, though Cole later rapped, "My last scrap was with Puff Daddy. Who would have thought it?" On 2021's Let Go of My Hand. In 2014, Combs allegedly punched Drake over the rights of the beat that became Drake's 0 to 100. The Miami New Times reported that 2 got into an argument outside of LIV nightclub during DJ Khaled's event for Bessel Weekend. Words were allegedly exchanged and reportedly, then blows, with Combs telling Drake, "You will not disrespect me." Combs has denied punching Drake, telling the radio show The Breakfast Club, "I didn't do nothing to Drake. Drake is my friend." In June of 2015, Combs got into a scuffle with then UCLA assistant football coach Sal Alosi. TMZ reported that Combs was present during a UCLA practice where Alosi chided his son and the UCLA player, Justin Combs, telling him, "I don't care if your dad's here. This is UCLA. I'm going to treat you just like I treat everyone else." After the practice, Combs and his son reportedly went to Alosi's office, where an argument ensued and Combs grabbed Alosi. According to one account, Combs was forcibly removed from Alosi's office and then swung a kettlebell at an intern. A rape for Combs Enterprise noted the various accounts of the event and charges that are being reported are wholly inaccurate. What we can say now is that any actions taken by Mr. Combs were solely defensive in nature to protect himself and his son. The LA District Attorney decided to file assault charges against Combs. In 2019, Combs' ex Gina Hinn told blog Tasha K that Combs physically abused her throughout the 5 years relationship. She claims he once stomped her on the stomach, causing her to lose her breath, and also punched her in the back of the head. She told Tasha K that he was mentally, emotionally, and physically abusing me. He would always compare me to Casey and tell me that I'm the bad one. She's a good one. She also said that everyone in Combs' cycle allowed the abuse to occur. On November 16, Combs' ex Cassandra Casey Ventura filed a federal lawsuit against Combs in New York, alleging years of assault. Her lawsuit contains graphic allegations of Combs raping her in 2018, physically abusing her, intimidating her, and making her have sex with male escorts while he watched. The lawsuit also alleges that Combs blew up Cody's car to deter him from seeing Cassie romantically through the rape. Cody said the accusations are true. Combs has denied the allegations and alleged that Casey tried to blackmail him for $30 million before filing the lawsuit. The two settled for an undisclosed amount on November 17, with his attorney Ben Brafman stating that Mr. Combs' decision to settle the lawsuit does not in any way undermine his flat-out denial of the claims. 5 days after Combs and Casey reached a settlement, a former Syracuse University college student sued Combs for allegedly dragging, raping, and recording her, afterwards allegedly showing others the assault he filmed. The suit, which was obtained by Rolling Stone, claims that after taking the woman to dinner in Harlem in 1991, he drove her to a recording studio where he raped her while she was in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk. Days later, the suit reads, a male friend revealed to her that he had viewed the sex tape along with other men. A representative for Combs denied the allegations, calling them a money grab in a statement to TMZ. Just before New York State Adult Survivors Act November 23rd decline, a second anonymous accuser filed a lawsuit against Combs alleging sexual assault. The law, passed in May 2022, opened the window for people over the age of 18 at the time of alleged sexual offenses to file lawsuit against alleged perpetrators, overriding statutes of limitations that typically cut off legal options. Advocates have asked for an extension of the Act's window or the undoing of statutes of limitations altogether. In this suit, a woman claims Diddy and singer-songwriter Aaron Hall took turns raping her and a friend in 1990 or 1991. She also alleges that days later, Diddy again attacked her at her home where she was staying. He was irate and began assaulting and choking Jane Doe to the point that she passed out. The complaint alleges Combs was searching for Jane Doe's friend because he was worried that she would tell the girl he was with at the time what he and Hall had done to them. Rapes for Hall and Combs did not immediately return requests for comments on Friday. On December 6, Jane Doe plaintiff filed a lawsuit against Combs, Diddy's house recordings, and Bad Boys Entertainment, alleging that 2003, when she was 17, she was gang raped by Combs, former Bad Boy president Harvey Perry, and another unidentified man at Combs' Diddy's house studio in New York City. The lawsuit claims that the teen met Perry in Detroit and was told that Combs wanted to meet her. She was flown in on a private jet to Teterboro, NJ, before arriving in Manhattan. The three men allegedly plied the high scholar with copious amount of drugs and alcohol. The graphics lawsuit said that things began to visually blur for her when she was assaulted by the three men in the bathroom as she drifted in and out of the consciousness, had difficulties breathing, and pled for them to stop. Allegedly, Combs assaulted her first and then watched the other two men while sitting in a chair outside the bathroom. The lawsuit also claims that after Pierre finished assaulting her, she was left in the bathroom alone, where she curled into a fetal position with vaginal pain. Once she regained her bearings, she was taken back to an airport and flown to Detroit. On the same day of the lawsuit, Combs made a statement claiming, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I've sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth." On December 7th, Tiffany Reid, a Grammy-winning singer, songwriter who has written songs for Zendaya, Joe Jonas, Jason Derulo, and Tamar Braxton, among others, published an open letter to Combs via Rolling Stones alleging that Casey's claims were true. "I'm one of the friends mentioned in her lawsuit, specifically from the night of her 29th birthday, as detailed in the section labeled Mr. Combs Forces Miss Ventura into Sex Trafficking," she wrote. Reid detailed her first encounter with Combs and her working relationships with Casey as a songwriter, and detailed the party where she claimed Combs separated Casey from her friends. When Casey and Combs returned later in the evening, Reid wrote that they appeared intoxicated and that Combs was verbally abusive to both women, calling Reid an emotional singing bitch before departing. "She later told me you made her have a freak-off," which Casey describes in her lawsuit as an arrangement where you would make her perform sexual acts with male sex workers that night. Reid wrote, "The reason you called me emotional singing bitch was because you were listening to new songs we wrote during the freak-off that had begun after you came to get her earlier that night. I'm disturbed to my core by this." Reid wrote that she saw occasions later where Combs appeared verbally abusive to Casey and said that she, too, had experienced trauma as a result of Combs' alleged actions. Hulu announced on December 3rd that the company would no longer make a reality show centered around Combs and his family. The news arrived as multiple companies several business ties with the hip-hop mogul following the accusations of sexual abuse and physical violence. The project, which was under the working title Diddy Plus 7, was being produced by James Corden's production company, Fullwell 73, for Hulu. The dropped reality show was said to take place after Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which is also produced by Fullwell 73 for the streaming service. It's going to profile the entire family, a source told Page 6 in March. "They all have businesses, even the kids, and it will feature everyone." Combs has stepped aside from his chairman role at Revolt. Liquor companies Diego asked a judge to prevent him from appearing on new advertising for De Leon. And a total of 23 brands have now revealed ties with Empower Global, his online marketplace for black-owned businesses, which launched in July. Combs reached a settlement on Tuesday, January 16, with the liquor giant Diego, with whom he shared joint ownership with the tequila brand De Leon. Combs first sued Diego in May, accusing the company of labeling Ciroc and De Leon as black brands restricted to urban markets. He sued again in October, asking for an injunction that would force Diego to comply with how he viewed his De Leon contract. Weeks later, his ex-girlfriend Cassie filed a lawsuit alleging Combs raped her, beat her, and forced her to have sex with other men while he watched. Two more accusers stepped forward with lawsuits on Thanksgiving Day. Though Combs has denied the accusations, Diego had been pushing a judge in New York to deny Diddy's request for control over the incoming $15 million marketing budget for De Leon tequila. Sean Combs and Diego have now agreed to resolve all disputes between them. Mr. Combs has withdrawn all of his allegations about Diego and will voluntarily dismiss his lawsuits against Diego with prejudice, a joint statement from both parties obtained by Rolling Stone reads, meaning the mogul can't refile their lawsuit in the future. Diego and Mr. Combs have no ongoing business relationships, either with respect for Ciroc vodka or De Leon tequila, which Diego now solely owns. On February 27th, Combs was sued by producer Rodney Leroy John for $30 million for sexual assault. The producer worked with Combs on his The Love album and says that he was subjected to sexual misconduct for the duration of the production process. He also claimed that Combs owned his $50 million for his work on the Grammy-nominated album. John's 70-page lawsuit filed in the Southern District of New York alleges that while working on the album and living with Combs in New York, California, and Florida, Combs repeatedly groped his anus and crotch without consent and attempted to groom him into accepting a homosexual relationship by showing him explicit videos, claiming it was a normal practice in the music industry. He claims that Combs would walk around the house naked and force him to watch him shower, and alleges that when he told Combs' chief of staff Christina Coram about Combs' actions, he was told, Sean will be Sean. The lawsuit implicates others, including Combs' son Justin, who's accused of procuring underage girls for parties where Combs drugged visitors and secretly recorded their sex acts. Jones claims that he was also drugged at a party and woke up naked, dizzy, and confused in bed with two sex workers and Mr. Combs. He claims that Combs frequently displayed guns as an intimidation tactic and threatened to eat Mr. Jones' face. After the lawsuit became public, adult film actor D'Angelo Mancus claimed that the lawsuit purported as producer Steve J engaged in sexual acts are actually still from one of his videos. Diddy's lawyer Sean Hurley called John a liar who is shamelessly looking for an underserved payday. He added, his reckless name dropping about events that are pure fiction and simply did not happen is nothing more than a transparent attempt to garner headlines. Justin Combs' lawyer also responded to the lawsuit. Nothing. Justin Combs categorically denies these absurd allegations. They are all lies. This is a clear example of a desperate person taking desperate measures in hopes of a payday. There will be legal consequences for all defamatory statements made about the Combs family. On March 25th, law enforcement officially carried out simultaneous raids on Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami. The investigation was led by the Department of Homeland Security, and news footage from the Miami raid appeared to show two men in handcuffs sitting outside the house. Earlier today, Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners, a Homeland Security Investigation spokesperson said in a statement. We will provide further information as it becomes available. Amidst the raids, a source told Rolling Stone that 4 Jane Does and 1 John Doe have already sat for interviews with Southern District of New York investigators for an investigation related to an alleged sex trafficking and RICO case. More interviews had been scheduled, the source added. This is Injibs Network. Stay tuned for more news and scandals from music entertainment.